We're Glass Tongue. You're tuning into The Weather Watcher. Make sure you give him a follow at The Weather Watcher and check out his website at theweatherwatcher.com.
All right, winner of Project Flow number 25, Glass Tongue!
You're now tuned in. Weather Watcher, Glass Tongue, official interview. Welcome and thank you for sitting down with us, guys.
Thank you for having us, man.
Definitely. We had to have the winners of the Winter 22 Project Flow in the building. First prize winners. How do you feel off that victory, guys?
Anybody that knows the Reno scene knows how much talent is here. So it's always stressful, you know. I mean, you have a short set, you get like 5-6 minutes, but it feels like you're playing a huge show, and everything's riding on it. So when you take the W, it means a lot, you know. And we're grateful to come out on top because there's a lot of damn talent in the city.
Pretty close competition this time around. You guys won by 1 point.
1 point, yeah. We got through it barely, and I mean, if I'm being honest, I almost think like maybe we didn't deserve it in a way, but that 1 point makes all the difference. So,
well, one thing I could tell from your performance, you guys have a lot of chemistry together, but I'm sure it takes a lot of work to really get to that point. Can you briefly kind of sum up the beginning of Glass Tongue and how the three of you came together?
Yeah. It started out with Morale and myself, Junes, and we started with one song as a feature song. He wanted me to be on a song, and it just worked out really well. And we started doing the collab sets, his solo stuff, my solo stuff, and just kind of had natural chemistry. So we decided to write a few more songs, and during the middle of the project, I think we were a little stumped with how to make it complete. We needed something different and that fit, and that's when I remembered the jewel that is known as DJ A Mills. And that's kind of what completed the project, and it just worked too naturally for it not to be a consistent thing. And A Mills, I think, was the one that was like, let's do this. So we've been doing it.
What would the time frame be on that? What year would you timestamp that?
2015 for Morale and I writing that stuff. Beginning of 2016 is when we started working with him, and I think by July of 2016 we released our first EP.
What can you say about your guys' individuality as artists and how that kind of meshes together to be a cohesive group?
Okay, well, I say that like other people might have described it better. One person says that, you know, he reminded us, or we reminded him of People Under the Stairs in a way, because one of us was real abstract, the other person is more direct. I just think that we definitely have two different ways of describing the same thing. So I think that as individuals, we bring each of our own strengths to the table from like opposite ends, but meet in the middle. Yeah, to add to that, like MC wise, like he's always been such a great storyteller with his previous group, the Have To. Mm-hmm. And so I knew about him before we got into a group together, and I always thought he was a serious MC, and I always felt like I could write really flashy bars but had less of that. So we've been trying to mix maybe a little bit of that in the middle.
Okay, so mixing the substance with the style type of thing?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll feel
MC
that.
wise. And
MC-wise.
then this man just brings his own flavor over there.
I'm the sprinkles.
Yeah, what's a set without a good DJ, man?
Yeah.
I'm saying.
What went into getting to 2015 Glass Tongue all the way to maybe 2022 Glass Tongue?
Well, we have all individually done a lot before Glass Tongue happened. Like, I have been in a group called The Missing Pieces. I was in a group called The Family Ties. I was in a group called Wild Things. I just wanted to rap, and whenever I saw opportunity, I went with it. And then it just turned out that, you know, people go different ways. Paths differ over time, especially when you're young. When me and him got together, like, our thoughts about what we wanted to do really meshed.
Let's talk about the early music right quick. Tell us about your first product. It was called Adamantine?
Adamantine. Yeah. That was solely produced by this man right here. He had a catalog of some beats that he'd been sitting on for quite some time, and we decided to just go fully with his vibe. So and that kind of gave it a little bit of, I guess you could say, like an identity. So it gave us some texture and something to build off of, like a good foundation. And it was really rough. I mean, we didn't know anybody that did any mixing and mastering professionally. We didn't have any good equipment or anything to really record. And I mean, if you listen to that EP versus our second EP, the quality difference is light years. And there's a reason for that. I mean, you got to start somewhere. And when you don't know what you're doing and you're jumping in feet first when it comes to that stuff, that's what you get, you know. But it's a mixture of like bars and boom bap songs, and then there's like a really serious song on there that's like extremely serious. Both of us like touched on some like super personal stuff from our past, and yeah, all in all, I still love that album. I like it a lot because it's you know, it's who we were at one point, you know.
Definitely.
It's good to show and remind yourself, you know, where you came from, how far you've grown. It's important. Sometimes you beat yourself up as an artist, like you're not getting far enough or doing enough. So sometimes having that as a reminder, being like, we're a lot better than we were, so I mean, that's got to count for something.
Definitely, right? So it sounds like you came together and gave it to your all for the first project.
We really did, yeah.
It looks like from the first official release in 2016, there was a couple years in gaps from that to the next project. I don't see too many singles in between that. Was there a reason for that, or were you just seeking to improve that quality that you said maybe wasn't all the way there in the first project?
It was a little bit of that, but what we were doing for 2016, 2017 is we were quote unquote touring on that project. We in those 2 years played like the Pacific Northwest and LA and San Francisco and Sacramento, and that's what we were focusing on, was trying to build a little bit of a market and a fan base outside of our city independently, building with other local artists in their scenes. And we were working at a venue that was downtown. It was called Singer Social Club, which is a small bar. Our friend owned it, and we got to book a lot of small underground artists like ourselves who were traveling through. So that's kind of the reason we didn't put anything out, is we were focusing on building connections. And then 2018 is when we locked down and decided to like start making our second EP and released it in 2019.
Yeah. So it sounds like shows are a big part of your group dynamic and overall artistry.
Yes, yes, very much so.
What was like the beginning of getting into shows? Was everyone doing shows individually, or was it when you guys kind of joined forces that you're like, hey, let's really push shows, you know, together?
Well, we all had individual, quote unquote, careers or paths in music prior to us coming together. I mean, he was working with a really big local artist that went by the name of Tree Woods, and he was playing shows like when I first met him and saw him was at the Lawler Event Center, playing at the very first Speak Your Mind. And like, I mean, very first Speak Your Mind ever. And it was like all the underground artists like Lucky I Am and Sage Francis and all of these underground dudes that were booked on it. And there was like 3 locals on it, and him and Tree Woods were one of them. And like Al said, he's been in multiple groups. He's been kind of hoeing around in the hip hop scene for a little bit. And I was in a group prior, and we'd all played large shows and battles and open mics. I mean, we did it all prior to Glass Tongue, so we kind of had a little bit of a base to go off of as far as like getting shows. People knew that, you know, that I performed bigger shows, he's performed bigger shows, and he's performed bigger shows. So we kind of got the benefit of the doubt. They knew that we were a little bit tried and true as far as live performance went individually. So
how long did it take before you guys got to break out of the local Reno scene of your normal shows in the city and really kind of just showcasing around the region?
Well, as far as the smaller shows, that was like the first or second year after we had released our album, our first EP. As far as larger shows, last year we got to do a run of shows with Grouch and Eli from Living Legends, and then recently we got to open up for Afroman for a week, and that's just been a new thing as of last year. It took us quite a few years to start getting in to where promoters trusted us and knew that we were professional enough and that we had enough draw and built enough of our fan base to where they could put us on these shows. Hence the reason we went and did all those independent shows in 2016 and 17, because then we can show the resume like, hey, look, we've played all these cities a lot of times already without a promoter or anything. So, you know, in 2 years to 6 years, just depends on the caliber of the show. Sometimes it hinders us from putting stuff out because we play so many shows, but at the same time, I'll never stop saying there's nothing better than, you know, playing in front of 500 people that are receptive to your music. It's hard to beat that feeling. So
definitely. Are there any standout moments for when you really first caught on to the songs or connecting with these different people in these different cities, you know, as opposed to when you're first starting out, people might not know you, nor less maybe not care? Do you remember that moment where people began to be interested, you know, as relatively smaller artists?
I think for me it was the second time we got to go to LA and open up. It's kind of like a day festival called Flow and Tell. It's put on by Project Bloat and Abstract Rude. And we'd won a Project Flow back in 2015, Morale and I, and the prize was to go play a show with him. And he liked us so much that he was like, hey, come back next year. You know, so when we went down there was people that are not from Reno, that we've never met before, but who knew who we were. And that's when I was like, oh, this is kind of, I think something's working, because that's never really happened before, you know. So for me, I think it was like back in 2016 or 17. But I don't know about this guy.
I was just going to add that, like, after we had that experience, you know, he brought up a point. He's like, if we're at this point and we brought it to here, like, then we can sort of take it on our own from here and really push it. And so I was like, yeah, that sounds great, let's do that. So, you know, we got a little, like, when we went down to LA, it sort of put us in a different place, and we looked at ourselves a little bit differently. And we also realized that, like, we held our own down there, like, more than I think held on. We didn't take over everything, you know, but, like, we damn near, we threw some grenades in the damn place.
We surprised some people.
Yeah. So we were like, okay, time to take this and run with it. And that's what we've been trying to do.
You really got the confidence, the skill set is there. Now, in this point in time, you're kind of doing multiple show runs with these bigger name artists you're starting to come in contact with, you know, based on the reputation you've gotten as performers. Can you tell us a little bit about that, how you transitioned from the independent shows to now working with people who have some sort of weight in the music industry?
All about how you market yourself and how you reach out to people. First thing I'll say is that a closed mouth does not get fed. These guys know that I'll reach out to a promoter that we've never met, and, you know, can we open for the show? And basically, when you're making music, your brand is, you know, that's what you're selling, it's your product. So when you email somebody to get on the show, you want to be able, especially if you have a fairly small following like us, potentially nobody knows us, you know, especially if you're doing stuff out of town, you have to bring something to the table. So you have to be like, I've played in that city before, X, Y, and Z. This is what we can do. We can promote. We know this person that's down there. You have to bring something to the table, and that's the biggest thing that I think that helped us. You get a lot of people that will just go, "Hey, can I get on that show?" A promoter doesn't want to hear that. Everybody raps nowadays. Everybody wants to open up and play with artists. So you have to stand out. And you also have to be professional. It's a business at the same time. It's not just you rapping for your friends and getting drunk. I used to think that for a long time. It was just party time, which it can be. You know, this profession could be really dope. But being professional and the way you present yourself, the way that you perform, the way that you can sell tickets, if you have merchandise, all of that goes a long way. Word of mouth is huge in this industry and in this game. So if you can start building a small buzz or good relationships independently, then people within that scene will start noticing you. And that's what it takes. We had to build ourselves outside of the Reno scene to start getting these bigger shows. We had to show that we have something to offer and we're willing to work for it, and that we do something different than everybody else. So I think that was the biggest part between the three of us, is that we really we'll grind on some stuff that nobody's really willing to do. There's a lot behind the closed doors that no one knows about. I mean, and it's essential.
Can you touch on that, but from a DJ perspective? It's a different form of the, I guess, the craft, and kind of like your perspective of like.
You are the only one with equipment.
Yeah, I mean, well, as far as I'm concerned.
Not behind the scenes, but behind some equipment.
Yeah, I just have to make sure my stuff turns on and works when I get to the show, so we're not wondering what may or may not happen when the stuff doesn't connect, or if your battery's dead, or if you forgot a power cable. I'm more focused on bringing everything we need to get our show to go smoothly, because I'm basically the band in a sense. So, I'm focused on techie stuff more than I am like relationship wise.
Absolutely. So, I mean, if we show up to a venue and all of a sudden his stuff's not working, we are not playing the show. It's not like we can go, oh, hey, don't worry, we got a backup DJ setup. You know, it doesn't work like that. So he is very much, like you said, honed on making sure that everything's there, that we pack up everything at the end of the night, that nothing's missing. And I don't know if you've ever seen a DJ setup, but it looks like a spaceship, so I can imagine how stressful it is.
Do you have any nightmare stories of where things maybe didn't go right?
Absolutely. The very first show I ever played, it was actually with Element in Sparks, and it was like on Virginia Street, or not Virginia, Victorian, and one of the outdoor events. So there was a decent crowd there just because it was a big outdoor deal, and I bought a new MacBook. I was all pumped because it was like my first big show, and I get on stage and turn everything on, and it's just a little, it was before the little lights they have now is like a spinning color wheel. So I just looked at that in disgust for like probably 5 minutes while they tried to beatbox through their set, and I reset, started and stopped and turned everything off, tried to connect it all. Eventually I got it to work, but it was not a very good first experience. I think that's why I'm so paranoid going forward. But at the same time, it was nothing I could do about that, but it still feels like it was my fault.
How was it interacting with other DJs on the bill as opposed to interacting with other artists on the bill?
It depends on if they bring their own gear or not. If they start asking to use mine, then it gets a little sketchy.
And that happens a lot.
It happens way more than you'd expect in the hip-hop scene, because you'd think hip-hop people would either bring their own DJ, or at least if they do have a DJ, he would bring his own stuff. But a lot of times they don't, and then I feel like an asshole when I tell them no because I'm prepared.
And we're not talking local dudes, we're talking like national touring artists that show up to the venue with none of their fucking gear, and they just expect the venue to have it or their locals to provide it. Like, it's crazy. You'd be like...
So I've held my ground
blown away
more times than I should have at not letting people use my shit when they don't bring their shit.
It's like every other show.
We straight stand behind him on that. Like, that's that man's gear. It's expensive as hell. You know, he uses it a certain way, and if anybody touches it and anything broke, that messes up with our stuff. Like, if he doesn't want anybody to use his stuff, you ain't using the stuff. You know, like, so it sounds like a harsh thing, but it's just as real as it could be.
I feel stingy every time, but at the same time, bring your own shit. If you're a DJ, have the shit to DJ.
100%.
Otherwise, you're just a guy that's there. I've offered, like, I've let people use my needles, and I'll like save them, but when it comes to them showing up with nothing and being like, hey, I'd like to use your stuff, I'm gonna be like, hey, I'd like to not let you, because you should come here with your stuff. You're the DJ for that group, so where is your shit?
The one time you let somebody use it, it's just gonna break because of Murphy's Law. It's just gonna happen, you know? Right.
Definitely, and set changes. Good luck getting back up there, especially on a national act. I'm sure. I've had people leave stuff by the little DJ board, and they're like, "Oh, I can't go get it.
Yeah,
it's gone."
I've been stuck at shows later than I would like to, just because the other guys played a longer set, or they started early, or whatever. I just got basically shoot off stage, and then all my stuff's up there, and I have to sit and wait when I have to be other places. But it's all good. It's all still fun.
So what are your standout or favorite songs to perform? What pieces of your catalog really gravitate towards these live audiences?
So I personally, I love crowd interaction. So we have a part in our set where we get all the crowd to get their hands up and rock with us, and I really like that because I can feel everybody's doing the same thing. We're moving as a whole unit, feeling we're right there in the moment. Like, that's my favorite thing.
The song's called Low Tide.
Yes, it is.
I like that. We have a song that's unreleased right now that's like a double time fast rap style song. And that recently, as of right now, is my favorite one to perform because it's not like the rest of our set, and a lot of the times it surprises people. And it's nice to just show your versatility a little bit, you know? I feel that we can, you know, we've been rapping a long time, we can fucking rap, but it's cool when you can pull something out different that no one expects you to do, you know? We're rap dads over here, we're older fellas, you know, we're boom bap heads and whatnot, so when you do a double time fast rap song, we don't use backup vocals, we don't use any of that stuff, you're either on point or it's not correct. So that's my favorite one to perform. And favorite one to watch is the intro that he does to start the set. I love it so much. It's like, it makes me feel like we're getting ready to go into a football game or something. Like, it makes me so hyped.
What's the part you look forward to the most being up behind the boards?
It's tough to answer. I mean, I'm involved in most of the songs, so I just like scratching, and I do that on a lot of them. So I don't think I really have a favorite. I like Too Many. That one's dope.
I like the scratch solo you go on, or at least it's on the live version of it for, I believe it was Cake.
Oh yeah,
I think
at the end.
Saw you guys doing that at the Cunning Linguist show, and really good scratching.
Yeah, there's a little solo in the middle when we have enough time in our set that I build everything from scratch and kind of make my own beat, scratch over it. And that's always fun, but it's always the most nerve-wracking, so I don't know if I like it the most because of that.
The pressure's all there.
Yeah, all eyes on him.
Yeah.
And we have a screen in front of his table now, so
Yeah,
people are really staring at him.
yeah, bring a GoPro, point it at my hand so that everybody can see that I'm not faking the funk.
Dude, I'm surprised, like, for DJs who like DJ, the big DJs, they don't have a screen like on their tour that's on the front of their set showing their shit.
It's all fake.
I don't like. I wish we had like a huge budget, because then he'd have like a whole DJ setup, and the front of it would be the screen, and it'd be like a 50-inch screen on the front. Like,
We're creeping up. We got to 32, so we're inching our way up to
we're
it.
getting there.
18 more inches.
What's your favorite song, each and one of you, from everything you've done together as a group, whether it's that unreleased music or the early stuff? If y'all had to just pick one that just means a little bit more to you, what would it be?
Mine would either be, Lost and Found is a really personal song for me. I wrote it right after my brother died, and it's like pretty much like to my brother, my verses. That one, that's my favorite song. I don't like to perform it because it's hard to perform. That, or probably Winehouse. I like Winehouse a lot because it's almost like a fast rap song, because we tuck a lot of syllables in it, but it's like slow and it's over like a jazz style beat.
Got a good swing, yeah.
It's different. Those are probably my two favorite songs as of now, but it always rotates. Depends on what kind of mood I'm in.
Yeah, I might have different songs to listen to, but my favorite song that we've ever made has to be Take Me to Church, because it was actually his idea, and another Melancholy, another MC, Mike, they already had their verses, like it was written a while ago, but when we got all of our parts done, he goes, I think we can get Greaves on this, and he did. And that's like making that song happen. Like, I was like, when that happened personally, I was like, oh, we're capable of a lot more than I thought. And so that as a whole it's a very important song to me in our catalog, so I like that.
I still say Too Many. I like that song a lot. I like the cuts on it. I like how there's multiple words that I can scratch and just how it all flows together.
What can you say about the near future for the music?
Well, we're currently working on a project right now. Like I said, we've got this unreleased song that we play at shows, so there's people that have heard it live. That's recorded, mixed, mastered. As soon as we're actually done with this, we're going to be recording another song over in our studio over there. So we're just slowly plugging along and working on projects, songs left and right. We have a weird way of working on stuff. We kind of like start writing 2 or 3 songs at a time, and eventually they'll all be finished at the same time. We're like, okay, so those 3 songs down, we'll hop onto this. We got a video coming out, that we're going to be working on with Bozzy. For You Productions going to be producing it. That'll be the second one we've done with them. And we've got some shows coming up for the spring and the summer that we can't announce yet. But if you're like an old school hip hop head, like
You're gonna be pumped.
We've got some pretty heavy shows for you guys. I mean, I wish I could announce it right now so bad, but yeah. So that's what's coming up just in the first 6 months of this year. Other than that, I mean, rap dadding it the hell up, man.
So before we end this, we're going to end with some non-music related questions. First of all, we are the Weather Watcher. What is the perfect weather for each one of you?
Well, pretty warm. Yeah, above 80. Yeah, above 80.
Sunny skies.
Sunny skies, yeah.
Where else?
Okay, damn. Well, some of you might know I like to skateboard myself, so it's definitely got to be dry. I'd say probably about 70 to 72 degrees, maybe a slight breeze, 2 or 3 miles an hour just to cool you off a little bit. But you got to have that sun. I like to get my vitamin D when I'm out there skating. You can't be skating when it's 85 degrees out. It's too hot for that. God damn it, man. No, but I'm not a fan of winter. Give me that sunshine all day, every day, all day, every day.
Yeah.
I'm a winter fan. I like to snowboard a lot, so I would prefer it be snowing all night and then sunny and bluebird all day, so I can go and smash some pow.
If you could pick one movie to recreate and star in, what would it be?
Fast and Furious.
He was ready as shit for that. He smiled when he said that, dude. He's been waiting for somebody to ask him that forever. Damn, dude. There's a lot of good movies out there that I think would be dope, but Weather Watcher's got them hard-hitting non-music questions that's going to rack your brain. I don't know. I'll probably have to do something fun like, fuck, man. Probably Forrest Gump, to be honest with you.
Hey.
We talked about Forrest Gump, didn't we, when we were on tour? Yeah, Forrest Gump is legit. That's my go-to.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm not too big on movies, so I have to go back a ways. Forrest Gump's a little ways back, though. I don't know, probably Happy Gilmore? Something like that?
No. If you had a genie and it can grant you one wish, anything you wanted, the only catch was it had to fit in your pocket, what would you be pulling out when you reached in there?
Bank card.
An infinitely refilling bag of weed.
Unlimited bank card. I mean, what could you not get with that?
This guy's over here like, I just want weed, bro.
I fuck with him. He's different. He's like me.
Yeah.
If you had to eat one meal for the next 90 days every single day, no ifs, ands, or buts, what is that thing?
I'd probably keep it with pizza.
Can't go wrong.
I was just going to say that.
I was gonna go pesto pizza.
Damn, specific. Like, we can't change the topping?
I love pesto.
On this last run of shows we did, we ate pizza every goddamn night, dude. It's the easiest thing and it's always so good. And I'll say right now, Nevada City has some smacking ass pizza, dude. I don't remember the place, but it was so good. But
I think it's just Nevada City pizza.
I think we could legitimately as a team do pizza for 90 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your message to the viewers right now before we get up out of here? Anything you want to leave them with?
Go follow us on all the social medias. Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, if you use that, I don't even know. Like our music, come to our shows, but also make sure you follow The Weather Watcher, all right? TheWeatherWatcher.com. Find him on Instagram at The Weather Watcher, because he's out here doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, if you are an MC out there or somebody like Weather Watcher who does his thing with cameras and interviews, whatever you do, all right, send it. There's never a time it ain't gonna happen. Your ride's available, but nobody ain't gonna do shit for you, so send it.
Listen to our stuff. Support us by listening, watching, sharing, all of that.
Come buy some merch from us at a show. We got knock jokes. I learned them from my son. Hoodies, beanies, shirts, tank tops. We got it. We got the swag, bro. Come on through.
Hell yeah, well, thank you for sitting down with us, guys.
Thank you for having us. Shout out to The Weather Watcher.
Definitely appreciate you. Until next time, cloudy skies, forecast, signing out.
Peace.
Committed sins and the wins, it depends on the weather. However, my niggas finna spin again. Out the window they shooting, I'm blowing chronic in the lens. I've been showing and proving just how in depth a nigga get.